probably maybe like 30 minutes. It won't take long. Can't hear me? You can? Okay. I had to get a new MacBook because mine was taken out of my car and I don't know how to work the sound on here. So I'm not gonna be able to hear you guys, but I think you're gonna be muted for the most part. If you need me, you'll just have to type it in the comments, okay? We're gonna wait. Let's give it like 3 more minutes and then we'll just dive in and people who jump in late can just watch the replay.
Hey, Shelby, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah.
Thank you so much for being willing to do the open house on Sunday.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much for letting me host it. I can't wait.
I don't know if you printed any of the MLS flyers or anything, but we just did a price drop last night.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So,
Thank you so much. I'll get those re-updated
awesome.
when I get to the office.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, can you guys hear me? So strange. I can't hear any of you. I don't know what the heck.
Can you hear me?
I can see your lips moving, but I cannot hear you. Okay, can you guys see my screen? It says step 2, commit to the 80. Okay, good deal. So did everyone print out their docs that Stephanie sent? Yeah, okay. You guys can talk amongst each other. I seriously cannot hear you. So let's just dive right in. So the 80-20 rule talks about mainly it's doing the most important things first and saying no to all the noise. Okay, so it's prioritizing and making things that are extremely impactful in your business and in your life the most important things. So let's see. This principle isn't, it's not intuitive. We feel like the more we do, the greater the result we should see. But there's a difference in being busy and being productive, right? So when you wake up in the morning and you have this big, long to-do list, at the end of the day, sometimes you feel like you got a lot accomplished, but really nothing very productive. It's all a bunch of busy work. So 80-20, we're just going to talk about itemizing, prioritizing, putting your big things first. So we're going to go ahead and read, and Nina, I'll call on you first. Are you in a position where you can read this excerpt out loud about the big rocks? Okay. Yeah.
I don't see an excerpt. Where am I looking?
Right. Let's hear it, Nina.
What am I reading?
Oh, page 29 in, do you guys have the printout from that Stephanie gave you last week?
Yes.
Flip over like 2 pages, I think. Yay. Okay, let's hear it.
Okay. The big rocks come first. This principle isn't intuitive. We feel like the more we do, the greater the results we should see. Yet, when we prioritize what really matters, we achieve the most. A philosophy professor decided to teach his class a lesson on priorities. He pulled out a jar. Oh, I saw this before. He pulled out a jar and added as many big rocks as he could fit. He asked the students if it was full, and they agreed it was. So the professor picked up a box of pebbles and poured them in. He shook the jar lightly. The pebbles, of course, rolled into the open areas between the rocks. He then asked the students again if the jar was full. Fewer students agreed it was this time. The professor picked up a box of sand and poured it in. Of course, the sand filled up everything else. When he asked the students again if it was full, he heard a few tentative yeses before he pulled out a watering can and proceeded to fill the jar to the brim. He looked out at the expectant faces. We can all finally agree that this jar is full, right? The students nodded, wondering where he was going with his demonstration. He pulled out another empty jar, identical to the first, more big rocks, more small rocks, more pebbles, more sand, and more water. In reverse order, starting with the water, he asked if he filled the jar with those things, would there be room for any of the other things? All of the students said no. When he got to the big rocks, he exclaimed, "The big rocks must go in first." This jar is symbolic of your life. Everything here represents a priority in your life. The big rocks represent the highest priorities in your life. Your list of essential non-negotiables. The others represent smaller and less important priorities in your life. If you spend all of your life chasing trivial things that don't matter, you will never achieve your highest priority. Whatever your highest priorities are, make sure that you make adequate time and space in your life to accomplish them. The end.
The end. Okay. I can hear you now. So does everyone kind of hear where with the rocks, you can fit it in multiple ways, but only one way, everything's going to fit, right? And so simple concept there. It's all about priorities and order of importance. So when you're running your business, make sure you're looking at order of importance because it all doesn't need to get done first. There's an order to everything. Let me get back to my page. I had to swap spots with Sarah so I could hear myself and hear you guys. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we're gonna go. Okay, when we are focused on the 20% that matters, we get 80% of the results we want, right? So keep that big rocks in mind as we're moving forward. So our job today is to identify your 20%. So, and then we're going to go even smaller by finding the vital few of the vital few. So Lisa and Stephanie in our business planning clinic like to call that reverse engineering our goals. Has anyone ever done the business planning clinic? Okay, so an example for me in real life and not business is for weeks I've been saying I need to organize my pantry. I need to organize my pantry. It was a mess. I wish I could show you a picture on here. It's actually embarrassing. It's so bad I put it on my Instagram, the before and after, and immediately deleted it because I was like, people can't see that. So anyways, it was a wreck. I looked at it for a few weeks. I was intimidated. Where do I start? And I finally got on Pinterest and I found like a Dollar Tree organization of your pantry. And I thought, okay, I can do this. So my 20% was getting on Pinterest, figuring out a plan, making a step-by-step list to whittle away at the clutter. Okay. So we're going to read. So here's where I made a success list. So to-do lists can be a little intimidating, right? Because my to-do list for 3 weeks was to organize and clean out the pantry. And every day for 3 weeks on my to-do list, I had clean pantry. Nothing ever happened. So when I decided to make a success list, I put the definitive steps on my list. So today, my only job was to clean out the pantry. And to do that, my success list said, pull everything out, get it all sorted, throw away what's expired because there was a lot expired, then get to the Dollar Tree, buy the bins that I needed, get it organized, and voila. Okay, so if I had just sat down 3 weeks prior and written out step by step, even though it sounds just kind of mundane, right? Everyone knows how to organize a pantry, but honest to goodness, mine was so bad. I I had to reverse engineer it and get the little steps on paper first to get the big goal. The big picture and the big goal was too intimidating for me. So that task was haunting, but the success list made it manageable. And so I say that to say, when we're talking about, if you want to make $50,000 in 2021, well, so do I, but how do we do that? And what's the 20% of your business going to look like to get you to the big picture? And unless you write it down and reverse engineer it and look at the little steps first and identify the success list, it's just going to remain intimidating and hard to accomplish. Did you guys go over on page 13 last week with Stephanie? Did you write down your goal on page 13? Did anybody write down like a gross commissioned income goal or a net income goal? Nina, you did. Do you care to share it with us?
100,000.
100,000. Okay. So if you keep flipping in your little manual that Steph gave you, you're going to get to your 411. Let me know if I'm echoing to you guys. I think it's going to be on page, do you have page 35 on yours? Okay, 35, 36, and 37. So we're going to focus on the 411 real quick. The purpose of this, and this is really instrumental. This is something that as business owners, you should be resourcing often throughout your business. And some people that's daily, some people that's weekly, monthly, but it should definitely be once a week, probably more. Okay. So the purpose of our 411, here's where we're going to reverse engineer how we're going to achieve the one big thing by doing 20% of our goals, right? And just because we do 20% of our goals and 20% of our work doesn't mean we don't have to do the other 80%. It all follows, but because we're focusing on the 20%, the 80% seems less, time consuming, and it follows suit more naturally and less effort and time is given to that. Okay, so on 411, we're going to set weekly goals that correspond to larger monthly goals. Set monthly goals that correspond to larger annual goals. Make sure your weekly goals are a success list, not a to-do list, okay? So make sure they're not as daunting and intimidating as just a bullet point and not knowing where to go with that bullet point. Plan your weekly goals, activities no more than 1 week in advance to allow for a change in direction. Set annual goals that can realistically be accomplished in a 12-month time period. And avoid revising goals set in prior weeks or months to reflect new goals or missed goals, for example. Am I echoing to you guys or just myself? A little bit, okay. Flip to page 37 in your manual. We're gonna go over, actually go to page 39. Shonda, do you have it printed out? And Shelby, do you have it printed out?
I have mine on my desktop computer behind me to look at.
Okay.
Same.
If you have to, just put pen to paper so you can fill it in as we're going. We're going to take 5 minutes to work on this.
Okay.
This isn't going to be your final draft, but if you've never done one of these, it's really powerful. So at the top, put your name. And you can see the example on the page prior. And it talks about the difference between job, business, personal, and financial, okay? So at the top is your annual goals. So that's the big picture. We're gonna reverse engineer it as we go down. So Nina, in your business, your first one may be $100,000 net profit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna put mine. And then you don't probably know how much that means. You don't probably know what that's gonna mean for you for commission and like how many transactions you have to do. But let's say if you have to do 100,000 in net, let me just do you know the gross on that yet?
No, yes, here, I can
Okay.
tell you. It'd be 130 gross.
130 gross. Okay, so to make 130,000, let's say if the average commission is 6,000, right? You have to do 21 contracts next year.
Yeah.
Okay. So you may just put on your job, just round up, do 22 contracts. And then if you don't know your conversion rate yet because you're a new agent, maybe you don't know if you're going to work with more buyers or more sellers. But I can tell you in real estate, it's more important to have listings than it is buyers. Okay, they say list to last. So if I were you, I would make your listings heavy. So maybe do, I don't know, do 12 listings and 10 buyers. Okay, so of your 22 contracts next year, 10 buyers, 12 listings. You're gonna hear Sarah in the background. Hold on.
It's a great day coming to class. This is Sarah. Hi, Robert, how are you? Can you hear me? I'm good.
All right, I'm gonna keep talking over her. You guys, I think, can hear me fine. So then you're gonna reverse engineer that down. So if we're just working on your job, 22 contracts, 10 buyers, 12 listings.
Okay.
So then you go into the month, right? So if we need 22 contracts in a year, how many is that per month? Let's call it 2.
1.8, so
Yep,
2.
we'll just say 2 contracts this month, okay?
Hi, Robert.
So let's just pretend this is January. And if you need 10 buyers in the year, we're gonna divide that by 12, and how many is that? Let's just say 1 buyer per month. And then 12 listings, we'll just say 1 listing per month, okay?
Mhm.
So now you can see you're getting down, it's a lot more feasible, and I think you can do it when you say, okay, this month, all I have to do is help 1 buyer buy a home. I have to get 1 listing and sell 1 listing, okay? I have to have 2 contracts, and maybe your 2 contracts comes from 2 buyers this month, and you don't actually meet your buyer and seller goal. But as long as you're gauging that and staying on track with your big picture and doing 20% of the work to get to that, you'll see at the end of the year, it wasn't as daunting by looking at it in the small steps, all right, the success list. Okay, so back into the weekly goals. So we're just sticking on the job right now. You can see how this is done and break it down into business, personal, financial, and personal, and see kind of plug and play what belongs there and what is most important to you. So let's say we're doing January. Well, let's say Nina is traveling the first week of January and she's going to be out of town, right? She's taking New Year's off. The day after, she's going to be traveling. So we're going to cram her January goals into 3 weeks. And this is how you're going to use the weekly thing to plan, right? I think every Sunday we reassess how our week went, and Mondays the week starts over. So let me go look in the calendar. So we're going to say Nina's taken off. Let's say she's taken off through the 10th. So Nina's first week is actually going to be the 11th through the 17th, then January 18th through 24th. Yeah. She's right there.
It's good. Sorry.
25th through 31st. My sound wasn't working in there.
Okay.
Okay, so Nina, if you need to, let's say for every appointment you go on, or for every 3 appointments you go on, you pick up a listing, okay? So, or we'll just say 4, then the conversion rate's 25%. So if it takes you 4 listing appointments to sign 1 listing, how many appointments are you gonna need to get your 1 listing this week?
4.
Right. So you need to break down your appointments by week and say, hey, if I know it's going to take me 4 appointments this month to get 1 appointment, I'm probably going to need to go on 2 appointments this week, 1 next week, and 1 the 3rd week, right? And if I go on 4 appointments, I know I'm going to get 1 listing. Well, let's say the first week, the 11th through the 17th, you fall short of those 2 appointments and you only go on 1. You need to add that second one to the 3rd week or the 4th week, okay? So continue meeting your goals. This is why I say it's important to look at this every day. Because if you look at it on the 25th day of the month and you say, oh my goodness, I know I need to have 15 appointments this month to meet my goals, and I've only been on 5, and there's only 5 days left in the month, you're too far gone, okay? So if you're referencing this daily and frequently, you're gonna hold yourself accountable. Okay, so I think, Shelby, did you have it printed out or no?
I don't have it printed out. I have it the same like on my screen behind me.
If you guys could just take 5 minutes just to go down, just do the job side of it and just get it down on like notebook paper or at least whatever you have in front of you. Just kind of jot down your annual goal, your monthly goal, and your weekly goal, just so you kind of get an idea of how to fill this out. And Stephanie or Lisa does a whole entire class on this 411. So This is really powerful. If you use this and reference it frequently and you do the work, there's no reason you should not be meeting your goals in 2021. All right, I'm gonna mute myself. You guys work on that for a minute. Okay, did everyone get a decent start on that? Again, that is a powerful tool. And as business owners, I encourage you to use that, reference it often. And if you need help with filling that out or digging in deeper to it or breaking down your goals, well, Command, if you go into Command, there's an excellent tool that helps you just reverse engineer that. And it tells you exactly what you need to do to achieve those. Some of those are overzealous, right? Like for me, it tells me I need like 17 appointments per month. Well, I can tell you, I don't go on 17 appointments per month. I cannot at the season I'm in right now. I still achieve my goals because I do other things in lieu of those 17 appointments to make sure I'm reaching my goals. So it's a lot of self-reflection and maneuvering and adapting, right? Okay, let's move on. Time blocking. People think there is never enough time to be successful, but there is when you time block it. So by a show of hands, who actually time blocks their day? You do. What's your average day of work look like, Shelby? Or tell us, are you full-time real estate? Are you new to real estate?
I'm like part-time real estate. I'm trying to quit my 2 jobs and go full-time.
Okay, so for your one thing right now, you should be focusing on what can you do to leave those jobs to be full-time real estate, right?
Right.
So in your real estate, let's say you do, how many hours a day do you put to real estate, or a week if you don't do daily?
It's really like I try to do 20 hours to 25 per week, and then I feel like I'm actually doing 3 hours.
Okay. And
So
sometimes
bad.
that's what it takes, right? Like sometimes I tell myself, I'm not shutting my laptop until I've booked an appointment. And maybe that takes me 20 minutes today. Maybe that takes me 4 hours. Whatever it takes, I don't leave the office until I have my appointment booked. Or if it's 2 appointments, I don't do it. I don't leave until I've done that.
Mhm.
So sometimes it's not 4 hours a day. Sometimes it's 20 minutes today and you've already done your job, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so you do time blocking. Do you put it in a planner, or is it all in your head, or is it in your iPhone?
It's in the Google Calendar
Oh,
stuff.
very fancy. Nina, have you implemented any time blocking yet for you guys? Wow, holy smokes, is that the bold calendar?
No, it's the Commit 30.
Okay.
So it's gold by each month. You have a 30-day goal.
Okay,
So I time block for me. Eric is still, we're both still full-time with our regular jobs, but he's more because he's working in the office. He's full-time there and he just works evenings and weekends with real estate. For me, I'm able to kind of move my other job around real estate. So I work probably 30 hours real estate per week, but
okay,
it's different each day. So I have to look at my day
right.
every evening and go, what do I have tomorrow for work and where can I fit in real estate?
Yeah, and I think that's gonna be a lot like, with the 411. That's why we also say reference it frequently, because when you're looking at your week, right, when you're planning out your week for the month, every week looks different. And you may not be in town all 4 weeks of the month. So it is important to look at things and this is all just tools and systems, and how we implement it in our business and our calendars and schedules is up to us. There's no one answer. But if we use these principles and strategies, it should be much easier journey to get to the goal. Okay, so let me just read you this real quick. Productivity isn't about being a workhorse, keeping busy, or burning the midnight oil. It's more about priorities, planning, and fiercely protecting your time. So in the 80-20 principle, they're very, very firm in their thought that these are the 4 keys to successful time blocking. Be consistent enough to set the habit. It sounds like you guys are on your way to that. Shonda, are you doing okay with time blocking, or could you use a kick in the rear on that?
I do okay. I set it in my schedule.
Sure.
I feel like always following it 100%. I don't.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty common with all of us is, yeah, my goal is to wake up at 4:30 every day, and by 4:45 I'll have my workout started. By 5:15 I'll be done working out. I'll be waking the kids up for kindergarten. It's not practical, right? So I think a lot of us put it on paper and then we don't implement it. But what we do, maybe today I fell off and I didn't time block. I didn't turn my phone on silent. I didn't set my appointment. Well, what I do tomorrow to pick up the slack is really of high importance. So be consistent enough to set the habit. And if you're not consistent enough to set the habit or stay on track, be consistent enough and trained enough to get back on track. Be thoughtful and purposeful about the items you list on your calendar. So my husband is notorious. I mean, let me look at my calendar right now. We do a shared calendar because we cannot live unless we have everything in the calendar. So we have 4 reminders today, or no, 4 calendar notifications for trash days tomorrow. And on my calendar today, I can see trash at 8 p.m., trash at 8:15, trash at 8:30, and trash at 8:45. Okay, that is not purposeful. He obviously doesn't know how to use the reminding feature, right? Because you can set reminders for times before. He murks up my calendar and it drives me nuts. So be intentional about what you're putting on your calendar. If you need to remember to pull the casserole out of the oven, that's not a calendar alert. Okay, that's set a timer on your watch or your phone or the oven, or tell your husband to set his timer. That does not belong in your calendar. So keep your calendar clear, intentional, and focus on the 20% in your calendar, okay? Always time block for the big rocks, your 20% that ensure your success and the success of your business. So priorities, going back to the big rocks, keep that story at the forefront. If you erase, you must replace. So let's see. let's say I have 2 hours to come into the office, and I get here and I talk to Sarah at the front desk for 20 minutes. Well, I can tell you, I probably did not time block for 20 minutes of chit chat at the front office. So I need to pick that up on the end somewhere, right? Or if I've penciled in a snack break, I need to eat through my work and get through it. This is a job, right? So while we get to pick and choose our hours, to get to your goal, you have to be intentional. If you erase, you must replace. If you roll into one thing, replace it with something else at the end. Okay, weekly goals, time block. Okay, we already did that. The world doesn't know your purpose and priorities and isn't responsible for them. You are. So there's nobody, we're not turning in our homework to a teacher at the end of the day or the end of the week to get graded on this, right? Reference your 411 often and frequently. Hold yourself accountable. You could form accountability groups at the office, but we're all independent contractors, so it's our responsibilities to push ourselves and keep ourselves truthful, right, with where we're going. Let's see, let's talk about this too. Some big ideas, and this is from the book, The One Thing. If you haven't read it, it's a good read. Let's see, go small. Don't focus on being busy, focus on being productive. I think I've said that a couple times today. Allow what matters most to drive your day. So does everyone understand the most important thing in your day for real estate should be to lead gen? Okay. If you don't have lead gen on your time blocking calendar every day, or at least every day that you're working in time blocking, you're missing the point here. Everyone should be lead genning every single day. And it looks different for everybody, but that is what matters most. You will not have 22 closings in a year if you're not doing lead generation. Go extreme. Once you've figured out what actually matters, keep asking what matters most until there is only one thing left. That core activity goes at the top of your success list. Say no. Whether you say later or never, the point is to say not now to anything else you could do until your most important work is done. So if I know I've got to set 2 appointments before I leave for the day, and my husband texts me and says, hey, I'm going to take the kids for frozen yogurt. Do you want to join? I'm not ducking out of here for 20 minutes to get frozen yogurt. I'm going to set my 2 appointments, because by setting my 2 appointments and remaining true to my goals, we can afford frozen yogurt. Okay. We can afford to drop everything we're doing to take the kids to get a toy at the Dollar Tree. I know, big spenders. Don't get trapped in the checkoff game. If we believe things don't matter equally, we must act accordingly. Okay. So if you make a to-do list and it's got 40 things on it, of course, you're going to pick the easiest things first. So if you spend 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. doing the easiest things, which, okay, take out the trash. Thanks for my husband's 4 calendar alerts. Got that done. Great. What did I accomplish towards my annual GCI goals in real estate? Nothing. So if you only check off the small things, you don't make time for your one thing, which is your 20%, which should be lead gen. You're getting trapped in the checkoff game and you're being busy, but you're not being productive. So obviously we're women and moms, and we can't just not do the household things, but we've got to be intentional and build bunkers for our time and make sure we're getting to time block, right? Lead gen, lead gen, lead gen. Let's see. Sometimes it's the first thing you do. Sometimes it's the only thing you do. Regardless, doing the most important thing is always the most important thing. Okay. Obviously the trash can't wait, because trash comes once a week, and that would be devastating in our family. We'd be overflowing and our neighbors would file a complaint. But we've got to make sure we're intentional about protecting our time. So let's see, build a bunker, store provisions. And by that, they mean if I'm going to bunker down in my office, find somewhere to work that takes you out of the path of disruption and interruption. So that's my bunker. Store provisions, have the supplies, snacks, and beverages you need on hand to avoid leaving your bunker for any reason than going to the bathroom. It sounds kind of intense, but when you set intense goals, your actions have to meet that and match that, or you're not going to reach it, correct? So it's one thing to set these big, scary goals. Great, maybe we don't reach it, but if we're not being intentional, we're not protecting our time block, there's no way we're going to reach it. And then it's just, a number on the wall. We all have our reasons to set our goals. So Nina, what you can do with $100,000 next year. You know what that will do for your family. So your actions are going to mimic what's required of you to do that in order to provide for your family with, by doing that. Sweep for minds, turn off your phones, shut down your email, and exit your internet browser. Important work deserves 100% of your attention. So that's your lead gen. It deserves 100% of your attention. Most people lead gen first thing in the morning. I do not, because one, I wake up too early. Nobody wants to hear from me at 4:30 in the morning. Two, I get my kids out of the door between 6:55 a.m. and 8:55 a.m. So I don't even get to work on myself until after 9:30. So there's no way I'm plugged in, paying attention, bunkered down, protecting my space until about 10 o'clock, okay? So pick a time that works for you, commit to it, time block for it, put it in your goals, and be intentional about lead genning that same time. It doesn't have to be cold calling every day from 10 to 12 or 8 to 10, but you need to get lead genning blocked off. With my kids, I don't know if anyone has little kids, but that store provisions thing, that goes to them too. I've always been a work from home mom, not just during the shutdown and COVID, right? So I've had to train my kids that when I sit down and I open my MacBook at the kitchen island, that's my bunker at home. And that means you have everything you need. You have water, you have a snack, you have toys, you have arts and crafts. Most of the time, I regret that decision to provide glue and scissors while I'm building a bunker. Whatever they need to allow me to work in my bunker, okay? So now they know they're 1, 3, and 5. The 1-year-old, he's pretty needy still. He'll be that way for a while. But the 3 and the 5-year-old, they know when mom sits at the island with her MacBook open, this is what we do, okay? So you got to train the little ones in your life to respect it. And it goes back to the pain versus pleasure thing. If mom gets to do this, it allows us the opportunity to do X, Y, and Z. And remember when we went school shopping and you picked out a new backpack, we get to do those things because you allow mom to sit at the island with her laptop open and working and plugged in, right? And list support. Tell those most likely to seek you out what you're doing and when you will be available. They will be accommodating when they see the big picture and know when they can access you. So again, it goes back to my kids. This is important to me because these things are important to you. So by allowing me to do this, it allows us all to do this. And my husband, you really like your Canebrake membership. Great. My income that used to be supplemental now pays for things that we are committed to, which is a 2-year contract at Canebrake. So please allow me and be supportive of my job so we can afford things like experiences and country club memberships, okay? So it doesn't all come down to money, but you know what it means for your family. You know what an extra $1,000 a month does, or $4,000 or $12,000. So whatever your goals are, you need to make these steps of building a bunker and protecting your time consistent with that. And every day is going to be a little bit different, right? So some days we just have no control. Yesterday I had massive plans. Everything was time blocked from about 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Well, the first 3 action items were a complete fail. Real estate gone wrong. So it pushed back the entire day. So I seriously missed every single calendar item yesterday because my first 3 items missed their mark. And so we just adapt, okay? We'll wrap it up now because I wanted to try to keep it to 30 minutes. Is there anybody that wants to share any major aha moments? I know I was telling Sarah when this was muted that we already know this stuff, right? It's just, you got to implement it. So the biggest thing is know your numbers, know your goal, be passionate about reaching your goals and understanding what that does for you and your family, and then stick to it. Hold yourself accountable. Shelby, want to share anything from today? Any thoughts? Any aha moments?
Not really.
Anything you think you can do moving forward? You're already time blocking. Is there
I
anything?
think I could commit better to making calls and stuff like that. It still kind of, scares me. I'm really good at calling people who I get from a lead website or whatever, but I'm bad at calling for sale by owners.
Okay.
So I think I could commit more time to doing that this week and next week, especially.
Okay. And how long have you been selling real estate?
Just 6 months.
Okay. Well, we're happy you're with us. The office does, and there's a lot of stuff on Keller Williams University too. There's more ways to lead than just cold calling and calling FSBOs, okay? So if you need ways to get creative and to work around your schedule, just reach out to somebody on the ALC or one of the trainers, anybody really that you see doing it at a high success rate, and get creative in your lead gen, okay? You don't have to call FSBOs. It doesn't have to be stiff cold calling. But if it works for you, then great. Shonda, what you got?
I think where you said to break it down annually, then monthly, and then weekly, I think that makes more sense to me. I did the business planning clinic when I first started last year, or I guess it was the beginning of this year. And I feel like I need to do that again now and then redo my goals monthly.
I think one is coming up
Okay.
November 5th, Sarah says. So business planning clinic is coming up.
Okay.
Definitely get it on your calendars and make it a priority.
Okay.
They break down this stuff even more. And especially when you're new in real estate, when you just say, okay, great, I want to make $100,000. There's so much to learn in the office and in the industry. That sounds really intimidating. To me, at least it does.
Right.
So plug into those things where you reverse engineer and break it down, and then you can set more definitive action plans. Great. So Shonda's signing up for business planning. That's what I heard out of that. Nina, what you got?
So for me, I try to time block. I mean, I've got the calendar, it's color coded, and I feel good about it when I do it, but I have a very hard time saying no.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my time blocked is multiple.
Oh,
It's
sure.
like things on top of each other. And I think that I need to stop doing that. I need to figure out what that 20% is and figure out what different lead generations I can put into that 20% in order to make it a little bit more productive and force myself to start saying no to things that I shouldn't be saying yes to because they take up too much time. So yeah, I think that's what I took out of it is making sure that what's on the calendar is only the things that I'm going to commit myself to doing, as
That's
opposed
right.
to all the things that I really should be doing but can't do.
That's right. By clouding our calendars, I mean, that's real estate aside, as humans, by clouding our schedules and calendars, it's tiring, right? It's overwhelming. So if we're overwhelming ourselves with our calendar and what we're committing to in real estate, we are just going to be tired agents going through the motions. So yeah, I like that.
I know 100,000 seems daunting as a big overarching goal, but I was always taught that you reach beyond.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I make those big goals in hopes that is the more I can reach and reach and reach, even if I don't reach them, I will have done better than saying, oh, I want to hit 30,000 next year.
That's right.
I mean, ultimately I want to replace my current full-time income. So I have to hit 100.
Sure.
So
that's digging deeper into your goal, right? You don't just want to make 100, you want to replace your income, your salary.
Yeah.
And afford you, and by leaving your full-time job, you'll make more than next year in real estate because you won't be bogged down by that.
right.
So that's important to, when I asked you what your goal was and you said 100,000, well, yeah, that's your goal, but the bigger goal is to leave your full-time job.
Right. Absolutely.
So 100,000 is just reverse engineering the bigger part. Yeah, my parents always, when we were growing up, told us, if your goal is to be able to afford $40 worth of groceries a week, that's what you're going to afford, and you're never going to have anything left over. You're not going to be able to afford a night at the movies or putt-putt golf or a trip for your family or groceries for another family that can't afford it. So set your goals bigger, just like Nina was saying, set them bigger. And if you fall short, great, but at least you tried. So plan to afford more than just the bare minimum and just the $40 in groceries a week, right? Cool. So let's log off here. We have the schedule for step 3, which is next week. I don't know who's teaching it, but I hope you guys got something out of today. You're going to see that a lot of stuff is redundant in the systems and the principles with Keller Williams and the books that we read and the personal development and growth that we do. And it's just, we have to implement it and be intentional about it. Okay. Cool. Well, thumbs up if you took something out of it. Call me if you need me. You guys all have my number, and have a great afternoon. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that went good.